And that kind of leads me to kind of the next question. So, can you tell us what Secberus does, and what does your company do and provide? And along the way, there's a lot of acronyms that people might not know. Explain what is CSPM, what is CAPA, and what is CARTA?
Oh yeah, there's the acronyms are awesome. I mean, I love them, but I think the biggest thing is to understand the companies are going through this digital transformation, which means they're going cloud. That's what it means. They're going cloud and they're going fast. And in order to build confidence in your cloud, you need to understand what is your cloud security posture. How risky is my cloud configuration today? And cloud security posture management, or stands for CSPM, is a market that started a few years ago by Neil McDonald. And Neil McDonald from Gartner talks about how every organization must have a CSPM as part of their strategy, right? But right within that, he also talks about CARTA, and CARTA stands for Continuous Adaptive Risk and Trust Assessment, which is how can we assess your infrastructure and your CI/CD pipeline and be able to assign a risk level to every single violation, right? So now we have understanding your risk posture, your cloud security posture, CSPM, with a CARTA approach that allows you to every single violation has a risk associated with it, and that is a methodology. Also, that was a 10-year-old methodology on CARTA. And then the third approach is CAPA, which is continuous adaptive policy assessment. And that is our approach to solve the problem, which is now through a policy assessment and that policy carrying out a risk metric or weight by the customer, we can then deliver cloud security posture for the customers at scale. So putting it all together, what we build is a platform extensible enough to take any company's cloud security strategy, regardless of the maturity level, regardless of the technology they're running, regardless of any integrations they have. All of our enterprises come to us with a very unique cloud security strategy. And it doesn't matter how unique or customized or tailored that is, we actually build the platform where their strategy can be deployed using our solution. So, for us, we spent many, many years working on this. We now on our year number 5 of working, of building our technology. So we can do any use case, any risk level, any cloud. And it's amazing to see how every enterprise has their own strategy and they can actually run it using the Secberus platform.
That's really awesome. Um, can you give me like a general example and walk me through like a example type incident, example type element that would be in a policy, and then how a violation of that might occur, like
Yeah.
as a threat?
Yeah. So I'll walk you through one of our most recent example with one of our big, big customers, which is they wanted to, they're moving 1,200 applications into three different cloud environments, three different cloud
Wow,
types. They're going Azure, GCP, and AWS.
wow.
And they only have one security team and one cloud security architect. How do you now have one cloud security architect to protect all those applications? And they wanted to build a strategy where they can build policies for specific applications, regardless of where they live. And once you have a violation, that policy and that violation, we can read the application owner and contact the application owner to solve
Oh,
the problem.
wow.
So we did it. We built a policy, and I'll give you a simple policy, which is make sure this DynamoDB, which is a database in AWS, is encrypted, right? And our policy is simple with one statement: ensure DynamoDB is encrypted at rest. But then once we grab all the DynamoDBs that are not encrypted, we then looked at what environment they were on. Then we can make decisions. Is this on the production environment? If yes, now that's a true violation with high risk because now we're
Wow.
reading the risk from that context. Now that we have the violation singled out, and we also know the application, and we also know the risk, we now make another decision. And now we start looking at the data inside and the tagging. And within that data, which is all built in today's cloud environments through tagging and labels, we now can see the technical owner of that application and who actually pushed that to the cloud. So we do some sort of forensic analysis immediately. So we grab the application owner, go to their identity management system, identify his email, and
Wow.
email that person. And that person receives an email and a Slack saying, "We know you created a Dynamo database on this date, and that violates policy X. You need to fix this right now." So we were able to track all the way from a policy, traverse the cloud and the technology stack, and also create a process to identify who broke it, and then have a true medium time to recover from the point of detection.
That's pretty incredible. I mean, the amount of time that that saves, I can just think about like how many steps it would take like a person to do that
Yeah.
is hours. Just
Imagine
to like
that. Yeah.
from the
Imagine
minute you
that. Yeah.
figured it out, yeah, from the minute you realized that it would take hours.
Yeah, imagine that times 1,000 changes going into the cloud per single day. Like we have customers that we have 1,000 different things that we're touching on a single day. So we're talking about millions of data endpoints, millions of decisions happening, and humans cannot just do it. So
Yeah,
for us, we found a way of starting at the policy and all the way ending at the developer. And that is kind of what we go with policy first versus a dev first approach.
that's pretty cool. That's really awesome. I'm curious, like, what are your thoughts on kind of all the ransomware? Obviously, it's a huge problem. It's
Yeah.
been a huge problem for a long time, but it's becoming more and more in the news. Like, what do companies have to think about?
So there's, I think in perfect timing, I think if we talk a little bit about the colonial hack, and
Yeah,
I've done my reading a little bit on that. The little bit that I know, we still don't know how they got in, but we do know that they were able to really log the data, and for ransom, and force them to pay the $4.4 million. And even though they didn't do anything with the in key to unencrypted, they still restore for backup.
right.
You know, uh, for CISOs and enterprises, they need to go back to the basics. Like, was that data encrypted? It's the first thing they needed to look at. And you can do that with policy. Is
Yeah,
this data type encrypted? The second thing they needed to look at is who has access to the data. Can we actually get a list of only the people that have access to the data, list privilege, access control is enforced? We can also do that through policy. But let's say those security policies are out the door. What is your backup and recovery policy?
right.
Can you have a 1 minute recovery point object, right? Is
Yeah,
that possible? So it goes back to policy, it goes back to strategy, and ransomwares are not going to stop. They're not. It's a large business. It's, if you, one of the things I saw, they tracked the wallet that collected this ransom, and that wallet has getting paid north of $30 million. That
insane.
wallet only, right? So Colonial Hack is the one we know, but every
Yeah,
single day there's a ransomware out there that we don't know. And
yeah,
for the attackers, it's very simple to do that. It's one click and the data is encrypted and the key is somewhere else. So the
yeah.
only thing that companies can do is understand where's your data, understand who has access to that data, understand your backup and recovery, and be able, I don't want to keep repeating it, but
Yeah.
do you have a continuous policy assessment approach to your data set? And if the answer is
Ab-
no, they're behind.
Absolutely. And I mean that the part about like backup and then actually recovery and then having a probably a policy to check the backups to make sake sure they're
Yes.
working on a regular basis I follow the cyber insurance world really closely. It's really closely related to what I do. So I see what's happening. A lot of insurance companies, cyber insurance companies, just in the last year and last few months, they're adding a question on the initial application, asking how long will it take you to recover your backups? Like days, like how many days, how many hours? They
Yeah.
want to know that because that impacts the damage that's going to be caused. If it's going to take you 15 days to recover your systems and your data, that's not going to fly.
Yeah, and it gets harder as we go through a cloud world. Like the next 10,
Yeah.
15 years, everything is going cloud. So if we don't tackle it now, we are
Yeah.
in more serious problem than we are today.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.